in Revelation 4, it says here, if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth, and devoureth their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. Okay? These have power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have powers over water to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. Okay? So it sounds, this is where I differ from most of the people. Because those who are reading it and want to preach at it or interpret it will see it as fire. It will see it as fire. But I'm telling you, that it's not fire. This has a spiritual meaning and a spiritual message in itself and a spiritual connotation. But can I tell you, it is a good news. And this is where I wanted to flick over to Jesus now in St. Luke, where he says, only believe in the good news, the Gospels. Okay? And Jesus preached. He brought the good news to the people. So it's saying that the two witnessing prophets will be preaching, and they will be bringing good news to the people. Okay? And there's a lot more being said here. But I'm going to leave it now. Hopefully that tomorrow I can get onto Blog Talk Radio, because I want more of a participation of people. And as I said, I don't want to start and then suddenly the phone charge just switches off the phone. And on the computer here, I'm not sure how to get the invite out to the people. It tends to record. After it's recorded, then it posts it. But I wanted to have a live listening. I didn't really want to speak to the air. I wanted to know that I have somebody on the other end who's listening to me. It just makes me feel a lot more involved in the message here. And then I wanted to go over to Zechariah here. And in Zechariah 5, it talks here about, in Zechariah 4:14, then he said, these are the two anointed ones that stand by the Lord of the whole earth. Okay? Now, when it says in 11:4, it says here, any man who, it says here that the two olive trees and the two candlesticks standing before the God of the earth. And he says, they have power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over waters to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all the plagues as often as they will. Now, again, it's not as it sounds. And the mainstream people will speak it just like that. They will speak, oh, they have power to shut heavens, and that it rains not in the days. And they're looking to see, is it not raining? That means the prophecy, that means the witnessing prophets are not two people. But there is, again, a deeper meaning that I would have liked to have kind of discussed here. To turn them to blood and to smite the earth with all plagues. So, and have power over waters to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. Okay? But we must remember that it does start off in verse 3, and I will give power unto my two witnesses. Okay? So the two witnesses, they're not working off their own strength. They're not working off their own mind and their own flesh. They're under a command. Right? They are under a command of the Most High, of the Lord. You see, because when we first read chapter 11, Revelation 11, verse 3 onwards, it sounds like these two people are just making up in their minds that there are two people, two prophets, who are bearing witness against the wrongs of humanity, the wrongs of the system, and they're just thinking in their minds, and wicked things are happening. Yeah, but it's not. The Lord says here, or John says that the Lord says, I will give unto my two witnesses. I will give power unto my two witnesses, and they shall prophesy. So when the Lord gives power to his 2 witnesses, they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. And then he says they are the 2 olive trees and the 2 candlesticks standing before the God of the earth. So that's where we have to go over to Zechariah and read chapter 4. But this is the bit here when he says, and if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth, devour their enemy, and if any man will, he must in this manner be killed. These have power to shut heaven, that it does not rain in the days of their prophecy. And it brings me over to Zechariah chapter 5, where it says here, when we go over to verse 5 of chapter 5, then the angel that talked with me went forth and said unto me, Lift up now thine eyes, and see what is this that goeth forth. And I said, What is it? And he said, This is an ephah that goeth forth. He said, Moreover, this is their resemblance through all the earth. And behold, there was lifted up a talent of lead, and this is a woman that sitteth in the midst of the ephah. And he said, This is wickedness. And he cast it into the midst of the ephah, and he cast the weight of lead upon the mouth thereof. Then lifted I up mine eyes, and looked, and behold, there came out 2 women, and the wind was in their wings, for they had wings like the wings of a stork, and they lifted up the ephah between the earth and the heavens. Then said I to the angel that talked with me, Whither do these bear the ephah? And he said unto me, To build it an house in the land of Shinar, and it shall be established and set there upon her own base. Okay, so he's saying the rain will be held up, and it is in parallel to the wickedness that is withheld in the basket. And can I say that we are seeing wickedness going on right now? We're hearing about shootouts. Yeah, we're hearing about nation rising against nation. People are dying in such brutal way. We're hearing planes falling out from the sky. We're hearing trains crashing. All these transportation, we've even heard where the ships have sank. You see, so the Lord is saying, I will give the 2 witnesses power. So therefore the 2 witnesses are under the commandments of the Lord. And he said they will be able to hold up the rain. So that means people will be in famine in the desert. They will be lacking. They will be without. It won't be a good time. So now it brings us to realize, well, who are the witness actually, who are the 2 prophets actually witnessing against and for? And what is this type of prophecy that they are bringing forward? You see, so this is what I call signs of the time, and it may help us to understand what's taking place now, and how can we counteract it. How can we be on the right side of the track, that we don't get caught up with this woman of wickedness in the basket that is held down by lead. You see, there's an understanding to be unfolded, and I wanted to flick over to Luke, in Luke 4, when Jesus started his ministry. He started to preach, and here is his words here. And well, no, he was 12 years old, that his parents took him up. So so Jesus said unto him, so this is dear me. So this is chapter 3, I believe, of Luke. So and now in the 15th year of the reign of Tiberius Caesar, Pontius Pilate being governor of Judea, and Herod being tetrarch of Galilee, and his brother Philip, tetrarch of Eritrea, and of the region of Trachonitis, and Lysanias, the tetrarch of Albilene. I speak English. So anyway, let me just move on down. hold on. I wanted to read where Jesus' parents came to look for him. And he said that you should know that I'm in my parents' house, in my Father's house. Okay. And okay. So, but Jesus spoke with such understanding. So the Spirit of the Lord is upon me. Okay. So Jesus spoke with such understanding, and I had it all laid out. Yeah. Jesus spoke with such understanding when his parents questioned him. So the Lord, he will give understanding to his messengers beyond the general understanding, and it vexed the people that Jesus was talking to. And oh gosh, I was just reading it before I started the podcasting. Oh yes, so it's 42. So it's chapter 2, 42. And when he was 12, for now his parents went to Jerusalem every year at the feast of the Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went up to Jerusalem after the custom of the feast. And when they had filled the days as they returned, the child Jesus tarried behind in Jerusalem, and Joseph and his mother knew not of it. But they, supposing him to have been in the company, went a day's journey, and they sought him among their kinsfolk and acquaintance. And when they found him not, they turned back to Jerusalem, seeking him. And it came to pass that after 3 days they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the doctors, both hearing them and asking them questions. And all that heard him were astonished at his understanding and answers. Okay? And when they saw him, they were amazed. And his mother said unto him, Son, why hast thou thus dealt with us? Behold, thy father and I have sought thee sorrowing. And he said unto them, How is it that you sought me? Wist you not that I must be about my Father's business? You see. So what is Jesus really saying to us? Okay, he said, I'm in my Father's house, and I am about my Father's business. And this is a prophecy that Jesus is speaking. And Jesus comes in too, because he's working alongside John the Baptist. And John the Baptist is saying that they are to make the path straight for the coming of the Lord. You see, so it's like a Moses and Elijah going on here, because Jesus is having to speak to the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and they're becoming upset with him because he's showing such degree of understanding that is beyond them. You see, and this is something where the Lord says, I will give power to my prophets, and they will have understanding beyond the normal understanding. You see? So therefore the two witnesses, they will be prophesying, but many will not understand it. Many will not understand that they're prophesying and what they're prophesying and what they're witnessing, because they're witnessing to the God of this earth. And can I tell you that the God of this earth, he recognizes the spirit and the soul, and not necessarily the flesh and the physical mind and the physical mindset. So they will be witnessing that the God of the earth will know them, recognize them, but not necessarily anybody else, unless the Lord wants to reveal that. So this whole thing will be like a mystery to humanity. And that is sad to me. That though it's good news, it's sad, because the thing is, it talks about the 1,260 days. It says here, so they will be prophesying 1,260 days. And I worked that out to be 1260, 1,260 days, which is 3.5 years. Okay. And do any of you know when they started? And so if you knew when they started, you will know when